Happy Father's Day to all you fellas out there, and a blessed and a happy Holy Weekend. You know what we're talking about? This is going to be swift. Father's Day in the black community. And I'm just going to start off by saying we know that 72%, no, I'm sorry, it's been updated. 75% of all black children are born in a single parent household. They're raised by their mother or female. So where are all the missing black men? We have in America, over 1.5 million black men that are missing. You have to remember, there's only 40 million Negroes or African Americans or whatever you want to call yourself in America. Now, we're not talking about the number right now of black women and children. So how many out of that number, what's the stats of black men in America? African American, Negro, whatever you want to call it. It's not that many. And to take that 1.5 million out of that community, that's finances, that's their life that's gone out of that community. That's a hell of a number. Do you know that? 1.5 million. And the number is between the ages of 24 and 54. That's that number. Do you know most of that number missing in the black community are incarcerated or been murdered? That's why I call this the Negro, a Father's Day tragedy. And I just want to give much props to those hardworking, honest black men and soldiers that are out there. You live a life of horror, most of you in America. The fear of a cop just coming up to you. Believe me, I know. Walking down the street of your community, you just don't know. It's. And now, what make life more unsure? You have an administration that are literally rolling back the civil rights of all those people, Dr. King and all those civil rights. Yes, I'll even say Malcolm X, even though he didn't believe in marching. Medgar Evers. Oh, there's so many countless others that were murdered in the black community. And also white people, remember a lot of white and other ethnic were murdered marching along with blacks. Everybody trying to see everybody treated equal. That's a hell of a thing for a human being to murder others. Well, do you understand what a tragedy, what the circumstances around people being murdered because you want to be treated or see somebody else everybody be treated equal. But back to this at hand. There's a difference in children when they are raised in a two-parent household. See, I was privileged. My father was in the house all my life. He married my mother way before I was born. I really miss him. He's gone now. Both my grandparents lived all their lives together. All my aunts and uncles, both sides of the family, that stopped at the end of the 60s, 69, after Dr. King and all the other civil rights leaders were murdered. Then there was attack on the black family and all these. One was benign neglect by, I call his name later, that's for a different video. After the attack on the black family, when the black man was taken out of the home, that's an attack. That didn't start it, but that pretty much was the icing on the cake for the attack on the black American family, the African American or Negro family. Now, I just want to say, Now we're going to skip to this. I'm going to tie this in. When we've lost the respect for self, because there's a difference in the mentality of blacks, and I've heard of experts say this, black experts, from 1969 to mid 75 on up to the present day, where black on black violence is just the numbers are just outrageously and horrible. Where we just murdering each other. I just want to read you this take from Chicago. And we can't blame the white man for this. Chicago deadly Father's Day weekend, 12 murders and 54 shootings. Just in Chicago, not Detroit, not Memphis, not Detroit, not New York, just Chicago. On Father's Day weekend, I'm just going to give you a little bit of information. In Chicago, 12 people were murdered in 54 different shootings. Among them, a 16-year-old boy, the youngest of the injured. And the youngest was just a 3-year-old girl. A 3-year-old girl. These guys shooting at each other. Do you know that? How disgusting. How in the hell do you expect people to respect us when we're shooting down kids? Do you understand it? Do you think that Trump is going to put up with much more of this? He already told the officials, if you don't clean up Chicago, I will. This is horrible. Do you see the statistics on this? This weekend is unfortunate. I'm just reading a little bit more. Not atypical in Chicago, where shooting deaths this year are on track to be the worst in 2 decades. Here are the breakdown. No, I'm not even going to say that. Look at this. So far this year in Chicago, there have been at least 281 murders. Black, 99.9% of them are black on black. Let's blame the white man, I guess, Where's Black Lives Matter? Do you understand? How the hell do you expect to get any respect when we're murdering kids and shooting down each other? I'm not talking to all black people. We are better than this. Let's take responsibility for what we've done to each other. I don't want to hear nobody blaming no white man for this. This is outrageous. Black on black violence is the highest. It's just getting worse. And it's appalling and disgusting and ridiculous. $1.5 million. Now, not all 1.5 million belong there. I know people who've been locked up for nothing. I can't get into details because I don't have permission. But we can do better than this. We were a proud people. Our ancestors were brought here against, they were kidnapped and brought in the bottom of slave ships. Do you know there are over 1 million dead bodies in the Middle Passage? That's the Atlantic. That's called the Middle Passage. Those were either jumped from or were thrown overboard. They would turn over in their graves if they could see how what we have become. We have not improved economically in over 150 years. Do you know that? We can do better than this. And I hate to say, look at the white community. They're better off economically, but not much. I want to say something. Look at all those people that came in and stood up in those marches just to see that you and I be treated equal. Do you understand that? It's just a few. It's not everybody. I'm going to tell you something here. I've said it before. Again, it's these doggone, a lot of these policies. Most politicians are full of crap. It's a constipated elephant. You have to see the top elite, the top 1% own and run everything, even the media. That's why they have most of black people. A lot of those commercials and a lot of things they say, it right off, it make black people look like they're some kind of demented animal, and that's a lie. All black people are not criminals or violent, just like not all white people are racist, criminal, or violent. But that's just their way of turning everybody against each other. The devil is a liar. Folks, we need prayer, and we have to repent for our sins and ask God for direction. And what we have to do is take responsibility for what we do in our own neighborhood. This is appalling. But for all those good black men out there who are taking care of their families, happy Father's Day, and God bless you. God sees. You be careful. And to all the fathers, black and white, God bless you. And watch your children, because it's extremely dangerous. Anytime with the country has gone from the guidelines of the Bible, where we can't, God has been removed and all kind of foolishness. His presence has to be, that void is supposed to be filled with something, and that's just what we have. Kids murdered in school, mass school shootings, theaters, and supermarkets and games. Almost every week there's a mass shooting. Be careful where you send your children to. Even when malls shopping. God bless you, folks. And you be safe. And watch your children. God bless. And pray, because we really need it.